Hi, my name is Bram van Leuteren. I'm the co-founder of Floor Launch. We help flooring companies across the United States help them get more flooring jobs through digital marketing. And today I want to talk about the most important metric you should be looking at as a flooring company CEO, all right, which is your CAC to LTV. And your CAC means your customer acquisition cost, right? So what that means is that all of your marketing spend gets divided by how many customers you've acquired that month, and that's basically how you know what your CAC is. So that means if you spend $10,000 on marketing every month for your flooring company and you get 100 customers in return, that means your cost to acquire a customer, so your CAC, is $100. Okay? And then your lifetime value is basically, your LTV is basically what is that customer worth to you over time, right? In total. And this could also mean, and sometimes you can also integrate that if you have a good referral program, that also obviously the return customers, right, within flooring might take a little bit longer, but also the referrals that this client can bring as well, right? So sometimes if you acquire one customer, that could mean that you get another customer as well if you do a good job, right? Because you're actually growing inside the community and your brand is growing through word of mouth as well, right? So most starting flooring companies, they really look at the first job or the first sale that they're making, right? And there's a beautiful quote that I love to say as well to our clients. To be like, you're basically in the business to buying customers, right? So, and you buy a customer not to make a sale, but you make a sale to get a customer, right? And the customer is something you have for a lifetime. And this is also very important in how you actually deliver the job and why it's so important to actually do a good job, right? Because that customer relationship, you can actually keep nurturing that to get more referrals out of that and also repeat business as well, right? And the beautiful thing about this equation is because, and what I've seen is why some flooring companies actually grow so much harder than other ones, is that if you know this equation inside of your business, like if you know how much you need to spend to actually acquire one customer, the actual killer CEOs will actually change their budget, right, based on a KPI of the customer acquiring a customer, right, and making sure that the whole equation is profitable. All right. So let's make an example right here. So let's say your marketing budget is $1,000 a month, just for simplicity's sake, right? Let's say for $1,000. So we in our company, for example, we get on average about 10 to 15 estimate appointments for that kind of marketing budget, right? So let's say for simplicity's sake, you get 10 estimate appointments, right? And let's say you have your sales team is dialed in and you get 4 customers out of those estimate appointments back, right? And those 4 customers are all worth $5,000 for an average ticket, right? And this is very conservative. This is for math's sake, right? So let's say you spend $1,000 in marketing and now you got $20,000 revenue back, right? Let's say you're running it on a 20% margin, right? Which means you got $4,000 of profit, right? So that's $1,000 spent and then $4,000 in profit. And this is, by the way, this is very conservative. I know you guys, if you optimize for margins, you can definitely have higher margins than that, but I'm just trying to be pessimistic in this sense. So what that means is that at one point you're going to get a 4-to-1 ratio, right? So you spend $1,000 and you get $4,000 in profit back, right? And definitely in this sense, you can actually try and optimize your profits on each job, right? I would highly recommend. But at the same time, it means that basically every dollar spent, you get $4 back, right? And what you're seeing is that there is a difference between a optimizer and a maximizer. So what do I mean with that? So let's say you work with a company like ours, right? Like with a digital marketing company. Like our job is always to obviously get the customer lead down, get the customer appointment down, and honestly just try to get the cost to acquire customer down as much as possible. But what I've seen also with the clients that we've worked with that are doing, let's say, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 million a year or even above that, is that they take that number, right, and they don't really care on how much they spend on marketing, only that the actual numbers of that they are making more profit if they put more money into the marketing machine if that stays the same or at least consistent with those numbers, right? So let's say a starting company will say like, hey, we spent $1,000 and we got $4,000 in profit back. So it's not profitable enough, right? I'm just barely making rent, but let's say the actual flooring CEO, right, which we want to be, says, okay, obviously I'm trying, I'm gonna keep trying to optimize to get to like $5,000 or $6,000 profit for the $1,000 spend, right? But what I'm gonna do instead, I know I'm making profit right now on this marketing budget, so I will actually start spending $10,000 worth of marketing. So instead of having that $3,000 of profit, suddenly you're making $30,000 of profit, right? Because you're spending $10,000, you get $40,000 of profit back. And the thing is that yes, you can always try to optimize your cost per lead, always try to optimize your whole marketing funnel. And mind you, I'm a big, we are basically a marketing company, right? Like this is my job to actually get those costs down. But what I've seen with the most successful companies, they basically give us the opportunity to actually scale up the campaigns once they see that it's even slightly profitable, and just with the whole mindset of being like, we just want to grow, we just want to increase the amount of money we're actually generating, right? We're maximizing the channels instead of always trying to optimize and waiting until the whole numbers are perfect, because I'm going to tell you, they're never going to be perfect, right? There's always going to be imperfections inside of business. There's always going to be improvements to do inside of any kind of marketing funnel, sales process, average tickets. Like there's always something to do and to improve inside of your flooring business. But at one point you should say to yourself, if we are able to, let's say, stay under that like $500 or $1,000 of cost to acquire a customer, right? So that means if you spend $500, you get one job back, right? I would say that that's the most important metric for you to determine if you should increase your marketing budget, right? Because if you're staying under that, let's say $500 per job booked, right, which is a lot of times the numbers that we're aiming for internally, just put more money into the machine, right? Really try to work with your marketing company, or you can work with us as well. I don't really care. Just try to make those numbers higher and really try to push every channel until you're seeing a disproportionate return in advertising spend. You're like, okay, if I spend $1,000 more, I'm not going to get any more leads, or the lead cost is so insanely high, so I'm not hitting my goals for CAC to LTV anymore, right? So that's why the most successful flooring companies and what you're seeing out there with all the big box stores, the Empire Today, the Express Floorings, if you look at their whole business model, it's not as if they're doing anything special or if they're doing anything different than you are. They're just willing to take the numbers that actually represent the real truth, right? And try to maximize each channel, which is your cost to acquire customer, right? And if you can get that number actually consistent inside of your marketing budget and be able to scale your marketing budget up, right? And a lot of times, I can tell you, every local market has some kind of limit where there's disproportionate returns. That's why you see all of the big flooring stores. They also have multiple locations because they try to maximize for each location, right? But they are just so much better at just believing that it's possible, just putting so much more money behind it, right? If the numbers are right. And I think that's the whole mindset that you should adopt as a flooring company, and really try to give yourself a much higher marketing budget, and then also reinvesting those profits into it, right? I would say and a lot of people talk about how much should my marketing budget be, right? And I would say there's a difference between what kind of stage you're in, right? If you're an established company that's already generating referrals and has some word of mouth inside the local area, I would say it could be about 5% of the revenue that you're trying to get to, right? This is also very important. And I would say the starting company should even be more aggressive towards 7.5%, maybe even 10%, really depending on how fast you want to grow. But I would say hey, if you're shooting for $1 million, right? Try to budget out at least $50,000 in marketing, which is a lot of money, right? Which is $4,000 a month, a little bit more even, right? But at the same time, This is what actually generates the results and will actually help you move forward. Because if you're always staying stuck in that like $1,000 or $2,000 budget, it's always going to be like just enough, right, to generate a few estimates. But your marketing company will never actually be able to really scale up the numbers and really trying to get to the results, because a lot of retailers that I speak to, they're like, I would love to have, let's say, 10 appointments a week, right? And I will tell them, all right, so you need to also spend at least $1,000 a week, right? And this not like people get it completely wrong because they're like, but that's so expensive. But it's not, right? It's really not, because all you have to do is look at the cost to acquire customer ratio and your lifetime values. If you're spending $1,000, right, and you're getting 2 jobs back, that's both worth like $5,000, so you're making 40% profit margin, right? You're making a shit ton of profit, and all you're trying to do is not try to optimize the little bits of profit or trying to optimize the cost per lead even more. Just put more money into the marketing, all right, and you'll have more of those profits, and the total profit will be so much higher. So if you're spending $1,000, you get, let's say, $4,000 profit back. So you basically are left over with $3,000 of profit. If you spend $10,000, you get $40,000 in profit back. So that means you have $30,000 left. It's so much more to work with, right? And honestly, guys, like if you really want to scale, you should look at those numbers. Really try not to hold back your marketing budget. Obviously, if the marketing isn't working, right, you can reach out to other marketing companies, or you can reach out to us. You can go to floorlaunch.com and book in a call to speak with us. But I think the most important thing is just look at those numbers, really try to understand them, try to internalize them, to be like, if we stay under a certain CAC, right, cost to acquire customer, we will keep spending more on marketing every month, right? And this is so hard because it's really scary. I know it sometimes can be really scary if you get into the higher budgets, but you will get used to the new altitude, right? And you will set new standards to be like, hey, we need to spend this kind of money, and this is the numbers that we should actually like track to make sure that we stay and keep profitable. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Just reach out to me. Otherwise, I wish you good luck and I hope this was valuable, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao. Bye.